Hi there, how's it going? Today, let's talk about maintaining languages. I have studied many languages, including Chinese, English, French, Spanish, Korean, Japanese, and Russian, Uyghur, and various Chinese dialects. And I spend a lot of efforts on a daily basis to maintain these languages. So today I want to share with you my experience with maintaining all of these languages and also how you might want to maintain your target languages. When maintaining a language, almost by definition, it means you have already achieved a considerable level of fluency, that you have a solid grammatical foundation, which means when you feel fuzzy about some grammatical details, you know where to look it up in your textbook. Because in my language learning philosophy, I think grammatical rules are the bones of a language. Words and phrases, slangs, cultural anecdotes, all of these are just the flesh and the skin of a language. And the most crucial grammatical rules, like verb conjugations, tenses, noun cases, these things are like the backbone, the spine of a language. And the better you know these grammatical rules, the easier it is for you to maintain a language, and vice versa. So if you don't have a solid grammatical foundation, it's very hard for you to maintain a pile of flesh without the backbone. So many years ago, I studied Russian for about a year, and I thought I had already studied all the grammatical rules, which I did. But as soon as I went into maintenance mode, these grammatical rules started to gradually fade away in my brain. And very soon, I was not able to make full sentences, and I forgot how to conjugate verbs in different tenses. Because even though I studied the rules, I didn't internalize these rules. It's vitally important that you not only study the grammatical rules, not only memorize these grammatical rules, but also internalize them. Make these rules part of yourself before you go into maintenance mode. And when it comes to vocabulary, I know I just said vocabulary is the flesh of a language, but it doesn't mean it's not important. They do come and go depending on your cognitive condition of the day, but it's better if they come and stay. And basically you need at least 2,000 or 3,000 words to conduct, or at least to understand a basic conversation in any language. And as we'll talk about it later, being able to consume these simple input content is very important when maintaining a language. I personally use cell phone apps to manage my vocabulary, but I think an old school notebook or flashcards work perfectly fine, especially if you're working on just one or two languages. And by the end of the year, you could look at your gigantic boxes of flashcards and appreciate how many words or how much knowledge you've accumulated over this period of time. The important thing is not the media, is not the method in which you learn and review words, but the consistency and timed repetition. I subscribe to the Ebbinghaus memory curve, but there are many systems or many schedules of timed repetition out there. Again, the point is to do it, to review your words consistently. So I often think of memorizing or maintaining vocabulary as caring for a fresco. So when you're trying to maintain a fresco, you have to restore the pigments, redo the colors and the lines once in a while before the entire picture is eroded completely by the wind and the rain, to the extent that you can no longer make out the lines and the colors and the patterns in the fresco. And then you would have to repaint the whole thing, and it takes a lot more efforts. So it's the same thing with vocabulary. You have to review the words before you completely forget it, so that you don't have to memorize it all over again. The most important thing when maintaining a language is probably keeping yourself exposed to the language, both through reading and listening. And it's important for several reasons. One of which is to keep the grammatical rules alive in your head. And also helps with your vocabulary. If you're just reviewing the words with flashcards or a notebook, you might be able to know the meaning of a word on a flashcard. But when you encounter this word in a real life situation, you might not be able to recognize it. So it's vitally important that you learn and review these words in real life situations. Personally, I listen way more than I read in my target languages. For example, I listen to the news and I watch the news every week in Spanish, like BBC Mundo or Euronews Español. And also in Korean, and I watch YTN News almost every week. And also I've subscribed to podcasts in Japanese and Korean and French and in Uyghur and also in Shanghainese. And the reason why I listen so much more than I read in these languages is that you can easily incorporate listening into your daily routine. Like you can listen to foreign languages when you commute, when you work out, when you go about your daily chores like mopping the floor or washing dishes. And whenever I encounter a new word or phrase or expression, I often jot it down immediately, or sometimes I make a mental note and I will go back and look it up and put it into my vocab management system. I guess the same strategy also applies to vocab studies. I have to go over about like 300, 400 words every day in different languages. It takes generally about 30 minutes, half an hour every day. So I would review some words as soon as I wake up in the morning. And sometimes when I brush my teeth, when I wait for the metro, or when I wait for my food at a restaurant. The important part is to incorporate these little study sessions into your daily routine. And watching shows and movies is also a good way, and probably the most entertaining way to keep yourself exposed to a language. And if you watch shows or movies on Netflix, you can always change the subtitles into your target language instead of just looking at the subtitles in your native language. Well, that's my experience with maintaining multiple languages on a daily basis. Again, the point is to stay consistent and trust the process. And ultimately, one day it will become fluent. Well, I hope you have fun with your target language or languages. Ciao.